Names, menus, and drinks. What do they have to do with Dungeons and Dragons? Well, I'm about to tell you. That's right, names, menus, and drinks. These three things, if you have them planned ahead, will absolutely help you to create that verisimilitude we were talking about on the vlog yesterday. Hopefully you saw yesterday's vlog with my great friend Aviad. He did an amazing job talking about the suspension of disbelief and verisimilitude and how important they are in role-playing games, in tabletop role-playing games. I'm going to link that for you just in case you haven't seen it. You can go back and watch that first and then come back here. And I wanted to follow up with this idea of like, well, now that we sort of understand what verisimilitude is, okay, let's just say you don't know what verisimilitude is still, or it's a little unclear. Let me explain explicitly. Just as a reminder, verisimilitude means the appearance of being real or true. So this is what we want to achieve in our games, in our, role playing, and especially if we're the DM or the GM, we want to create the appearance of our worlds being real or true. In what I've decided, or what I've realized, that one thing we can do in creating that, in providing that, let's say, for our players, is having things ready ahead of time to draw on that give this illusion of your world being real. Names, menus, and drinks maybe seem like totally random. However, what I realize is if you have those things laid out ahead of time with a list for yourself, perhaps even like a printout or a handout, something you can show to your players, if you have these prepared ahead of time, these are the things that are contributing to making your world seem real. Let's just use a simple example to illustrate this. If the party you're running the game for, walks into an inn or a tavern, and you already know the name of the inn or tavern, even if you have to look it up, like, just give me a sec, let me check what that name is, as if it already existed, then that's the first step in creating this illusion of reality, right? Whereas if they ask you what's the name of the inn, and you're like, I don't know, let's call it the... I've made that mistake, my friends. I have absolutely made that mistake. The fact that I'm like guessing makes it seem as if it's not real. I'm just making it up. Okay, fine, it's all make-believe. In that case, the suspension of disbelief is still in place. It still takes effect because, probably our players are going to go along with it, to play along with us. However, if we as DMs can be slightly prepared ahead of time and have a list of names, and when I say names, I want names for shops and places and things like that, inns especially, taverns and so forth, names of cities, names of places in the world, names of things that are important in the world, but also NPC names. This one is something that I've done for quite a while. I love this trick. You just have a list of NPC names at hand, off to the side, that you can refer to anytime you need it. And what I recommend, this is what I've done, is I recommend breaking it down into race and also sex. Male, female, or if you want to do non-binary, that's cool too, they, them, whatever. But the point being that you have that prepared ahead of time so that, again, you meet a dwarf. What's the dwarf's name? Hang on a sec, let me check. Not, let's call them such and such. Not making it up on the fly, which you can do and still pull off, make it seem real. However, if it seems as if it's a name that already exists, and you just need to go and look for the reference to that person, that makes it feel that much more real. And the third part of that is the menu. The menu? What are you talking about, Gregory? Menu? Yes, a menu. If you have a simple menu, I'm not talking about some extravagant, like 3-page kind of thing. If you just have a few items listed for when your players go into an inn or tavern and they're ready to have a meal, and you have a printed list of the and it could be simple. It could just be like steak and potatoes in a roast, or or it could be like apple pie, and like little simple things. But the point is, you've taken just a few seconds or even a few minutes, let's call it, to prepare that ahead of time. And if it's your thing, you could go like way overboard. You could make it look like it's, wrinkled paper, or, it's stylized script, or what, you go hog wild if that's what you want to do, especially if it's a prop that you're going to hand to the players at your physical table. I mean, that's kind of cool. Regardless of what level you take it to, just the fact that you've taken a minute to prepare it ahead of time, again, it's giving this illusion. It's contributing, let's say. Maybe it's not giving, but it's not providing that, but it's contributing to the illusion that your world is real. The inn that the players are staying in is real. In fact, it has a menu in here. You can look at it. And then, hand in hand with the menu, I would go one step further and I would invent some drinks for your world. Maybe you're on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday, we're playing our Tabletop Galaxy game, and whether it's Halcyon Days every Monday night, or whether it's every Tuesday night rather, or whether it's Second Sunrise every other Wednesday night, either of those groups, there are lists online that we can refer to, such as Corellian Ale or Corellian Whiskey or what have you. There's a whole list of drinks that exist within the Star Wars universe. And so rather than just saying, oh, I want to have a beer, you can specifically ask for that kind of drink. And it's a fun little lore thing. And again, it just adds to this feeling that it exists, that it actually exists. So if you take a minute and I'll make one up right now to give you an idea. Let's say you are in a world and there is a local town that has a famous brewery. The local town name is, let's call it the Shire. Okay, sure. It's the Shire, right? And what if you had the Shire Red is out of season right now, but there's an amazing Shire Amberbock. Would you like that? Now we've created that sounds legit, right? Like, I know I could go to the store and there are going to be reds, there's going to be, Amberbocks, there's going to be Pilsners and IPAs and all these others, right? I could use just those generic terms. Oh yeah, there's a great wheat beer. I can say that. However, if I name it, if I give it a name, and it's especially if it's something that the players are familiar with, a town or a location that the players are familiar with, now we're talking. Now we're adding a layer of reality, or it seems like we're giving the appearance, the seemingness of it being real. Names are powerful. One of my favorite books is by Patrick Rothfuss, right? And two, I guess, because it's supposed to be a trilogy, but we're still waiting for the third book. So The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. If you haven't read them, by all means, they're amazing books. Not everyone likes them, but if you enjoy fantasy, I loved them. I think they're amazing. And in those books, he sort of really hones in on the fact that naming things is powerful. There is power in giving things a name, or knowing the true name of a thing. We see this in Dungeons & Dragons even. If you know the true name of a demon, you gain a certain level of power over it, right? So I absolutely encourage you to be very clear in your mind. And I think you should have lists. I recommend lists. This is what I've done for my games. Is we have a list of, you have lists of names. You've written them out. You create a menu or two or three that you can draw on whenever you need it. And then you create some drinks, or even maybe it's not just drinks. Maybe it's drinks and other kinds of food that are tied to locations in your world that the players will have heard of. In fact, here's a bonus. Let's end this vlog with a bonus. You really want to go one step beyond? Find out from one or some of your players what the name of the town they grew up in is, and name one of the drinks or one of the specialty foods after that town. That is going to immediately hook those players that much more into your game. So with that fine little tip, I will bid you adieu. Check out the videos down here for more great tips and tricks for your D&D games. I'll see you at a table someday, friends. Keep rolling 20s, and remember, it's your game. Play your way.